Hello, this is Hi Bob Warbob, and let's play some Ultimate General Civil War. Hello, and welcome back. Today we are playing River Crossing, and we are here again with Something Compass.
Hello? That last battle was really, really entertaining.
It was.
Like
It was
like watching a
good.
movie.
I
No, better than a movie.
Better than a movie. Wow, that's saying something. Here it's not going to be quite as crazy. It's going to be pretty normal stuff for this battle.
Oh, how disappointing.
I know. I mean, what can you really do whenever everybody else already runs around and completely surrounds the enemy? Like, that's just like stock standard for this battle is to, oh, well, there might be, is this one of the times that I do that? I do, don't I? Okay, I do a river crossing, just because. I mean,
Yeah.
why not? So I guess
Yeah.
it's not quite stock standard, but it's pretty close.
Yeah, crossing the river at the unpassable point there is something that's never been done before.
Probably not.
I think the unpassable point is the key thing.
Yeah, it definitely. I mean, and you don't really need to. Like, it was just because
Yeah, sure.
I'm a fan of that kind of thing. I mean, you can just walk them all the way around the battlefield and get to the same place at the same time. I don't even think I really move them in very hard from that side. I just kind of mosey them on over there. So once again, we're going to play the game of your kills, my kills. You got 1,324 losses after medicine.
Wow.
Where do you,
I can't believe I only got 1,300 losses using those old tactics. It seems like the Stone Age.
like I said, this battle is really stock standard. Like, there's just not much innovation you can do here. So what do you think I got?
800.
You keep giving me too much credit on some of these. 948, and I considered that a blessing because I was having trouble even equaling yours.
That's, you know, that was a pretty close guess.
Yeah, I mean,
It was 100 off.
yeah, but you are giving me more credit rather than less credit for the most part. There's just not a lot you can do here. I get 21.8 to 1 kill to death ratio.
Nice.
And you got 8.77 to 1. So part of it is that you faced let's see here. What'd you face? You faced 15,000 and only brought 5,500. So
yeah,
but you losing 1,300 men was 25% losses.
Yeah. That was back in the day when we brought like a mixed assortment of units. So you wanted to bring artillery back in those days, artillery and snipers and cav, and I'm sure I had all of the above.
I messed up on my equation somewhere. And so the previous battle I had 3.3% losses, and in this one I have 2.4% losses.
Wow.
I think is right, because it's saying here 24%, but that is not right, because I did not lose 24% of my men. I only lost, out of my 2,400, I lost 900. I had 24,000, I lost 900, so I lost 1/24th.
Right.
Which is not very many. I think it is like 2.5% or so. I think that's about right.
That's really yeah, that's really amazing.
So that's a magnitude less percentage of casualties.
Yes.
Which is huge whenever it comes to experience over time. Which is really what I'm getting ahead here it's not in the number of losses that I take. I can only do so much to get ahead in losses whenever I'm facing more men. I faced 21,000 and you faced 15,000. So I faced 25% more, 33% more, 33% more men, 5,000 more men, and brought 5 times as much men, 5 times as many men, and lost a few less, not a crazy number less. And it was a really big struggle to lose less men than you. It took a lot of just trial and error and trying to figure out things, what little things I could do to actually get to the point where I could do that, because you could just get charged down by like one unit and you lose like 300 men and it's like, well, that was fun. And there's just nothing you can do to stop that if you aren't used to exactly where the triggers are for them charging you and things like that. And even if they don't, like, and whenever I say charge, it doesn't necessarily mean that they get into melee. All they have to do is just get close enough to fire at you, and you lose several hundred men.
Yeah, I'm looking at this 3-star, but I'm really loving that this 3-star took fire from several units from several different sides, and he's down to 2,400. So these guys are starting at
Almost
2,700.
3K,
It
yeah,
looks like
2,700, yeah.
And they're 3-stars, and yeah, every time they come forward, they're going to lose 300, and that's actually terrific that they're charging right into the water. I mean, what a huge opportunity to rack up kills. I wouldn't be at all concerned, about losing a few men to rack up a ton of experience right there. That's just a harvesting opportunity.
The catch is that I'm
Look
leaving
at
my
that.
farmers over here, and they are not good at range.
Yeah.
All my best men are on the flanking maneuver, and this is supposed to just be holding. And if a
No,
unit,
the enemy tends to charge over here if you're lucky.
right, but my maneuver units need to be better units, because if they're not, bad things happen. Because trying to actually like maneuver with farmers in like an open field with a bunch of units like that you don't know exactly where they all are is just a recipe for disaster. Whereas here, at least I've got them in a river, I've got them like surrounded, I can have multiple units in one spot like converge and like hit somebody, and you just don't get that if with the unit out there in the field.
Yeah. I mean, this is 4 units on one, and this unit just routed, and hopefully the next guy will walk forward and take his place.
And that's only if you don't count all the skirmishers, because then it's 8 on 1.
Yeah, that's right.
And really, it's like you can count the skirmishers as like half the number of kills usually. So it's usually about that would be like 6 on 1 basically. As a rule of thumb, usually they don't get as many kills. See, and I completely forgot about my guy up there that crossed the river and is like sitting up there just kind of chilling. He's not even running in circles. He's just sitting there. I forget about him for like the entire battle until like the very end.
Yeah, I'm looking at this. This guy's going to take flanking fire. He's going to turn. Hopefully he turns hard. Nope, he's going to keep moving. For some reason, he wants to attack that guy he targeted first. That's
Right.
fine. He's going to expose his.
So what I did is I got a shot on him and then got close enough that he wanted to turn towards me, and then I backed off by rotating my unit. So then he wants to go back after the guy that's right in front of him. So then he started moving forward again, and then I move in from the side again.
Nice.
And get at him. So you play games with the AI and make them make mistakes.
Yeah, once he does this dance of death where he starts bobbing back and forth and not firing, things are going to go. Yeah, he's just going to rout. I was hoping that other guy would charge into the water. I would have actually backed up to keep my cone of fire all on this side of the river, so he'd go into the water. But no, he backed up, and now it looks like he's going toward the flag. What is he doing? Trimble.
Trimble? Oh, I don't know. He's just wandering around over there. That's just what they do. They like to make a line between the two flags. Is basically what they're doing. A line of infantry between the two. So it makes sense. I mean, you want to, hold a line. Of course, they leave nobody in their backfield at all, which makes no sense. They should have men, like, covering some flanks. I mean, it's sad that, like, the AI can't really think straight unless you, like, gave it a fortification stretching from, like, one side of the map to the other. If you don't do that for the AI, it just doesn't cover its flanks. Ever.
Yeah, like this would be a lot more interesting as I watch it if he had 3 or 4 units attacking on line. They'd like march up, fire a volley, and then all charge at once.
Yeah, and now Campbell's falling back. It's like, what are you doing? Like, I've only got skirmishers up there on the hill. Like, they're not actually. And my guy stopped running, which is great.
Yeah, this guy over here is only firing intermittent fire. He's not firing volleys at all. Oh yeah, Taylor got torn up. Yeah, these units are you're just chopping them to pieces. No wonder your losses are low.
Yeah.
Just good tactical fire.
Completely forgot about these guys.
If he attacks, you tear him up. If he defends, you tear him up. If he retreats, you tear him up. That's where you want to be.
It is.
No matter what he does, he loses.
That Lorenz took a few more hits than I would have liked. But still only 50 losses, so it's not bad. For some reason, I consider 50 losses on a unit to be high. I don't know what's wrong with me.
Yeah, you have to watch more videos from the early days of Ultimate General.
Yeah.
Where units were shot and, took 50% losses.
That Etsy, man. That guy always is just flipping all over the place, shooting everybody, doesn't know what he's doing, still gets a bunch of kills. Always annoys the living daylights out of me. That's one of the big reasons why I take any losses in this battle, is because of this part right here. Trying to knock him out of this without taking any losses is basically impossible with no snipers. Like, if I had snipers, this would be easy. But
did you ever think about bringing a sniper unit to this battle?
You don't get good snipers at this point. Like, you get like a couple hundred of the TS, and that's it.
Yeah, you could probably bring sharps.
Do they actually have longer range?
Yeah, they have range of 500, I think.
Is it 500?
I'd have to look. I don't use them because I don't even bother building snipers until a little later on.
And that might be something worth it. I was trying to stay away from snipers this time.
Yeah, I pretty much like to build snipers when my infantry gets to 3 stars, and then I just peel off 375 guys, give them the best weapons, start them with 3 perks.
That's a little dirty, but I get why.
It's starting snipers out with 1 or 2 stars, 1 or 2 unit perks. They don't perform anywhere near as well.
Hey, look, I finally remembered him.
That's a good place for him to be, because the enemy always tries to retreat back there.
It was one of the reasons why I put him there. Was just because they retreat like across that river, and it's like, what are you doing? Like,
they always do.
What is wrong with you people?
And if you march a unit from the normal path north, by the time he gets there, he'll be tired.
Yeah. But I mean, like the Harbor's Ferry and everything, I like rested a bunch of them, and they could be rested and marching that way now. It's not really that much different, because you can rest them and get him there. And I could have used him in that battle, technically. Done some things with him to keep me from losing quite as many men on some of the other guys, maybe. And you always... The same thing applies whenever you're fighting units that aren't routing, that applies to whenever you're fighting units that are routing. If you push in too close, you push units to make changes. If you push in just close enough to fire at them, they don't always make changes.
Yeah, I have a general rule of even when they start to route, stay at the max distance, max fire distance to keep them from running off in directions you don't want them to go.
But even if you're not trying to get them to not run off in directions, like here, that Harper's Ferry is getting shots on Scott. But the only reason he can is because that Lorenz is holding Scott in position by being close enough that if he rotates, he'll get hit by 2 units instead of just 1.
Mm-hmm.
But if you were to rotate to fire at the Lorenz, at the Harper's Ferry, the Lorenz would shoot him
in the flank.
So no matter what he does, he's in a bad spot. But if I move that Harper's Ferry too close, he'll instead go ahead and aim at the Harper's Ferry, and I might not get a shot off fast enough for him not to be able to shoot me, at least some.
Yeah.
Whereas in this case, you just kind of hold him in position with one guy and get just close enough with another, and then you just do that over and over again across the battlefield. The 55 was doing the same thing with the guy that was in front of the Lorenz. You just keep doing that in a way that keeps you from ever getting shot until you get him in a wall.
It's a wonderful mechanic. I need to do more of that.
It's also possible to shoot at guys that are right in front of you that can't shoot you too, depending on the situation. I run into that in the opposite direction at this battle sometimes because they're on a hill and they will fire down at you from further away than you can shoot.
Yeah, going up that hill is always really costly.
Well, yeah, it is. I don't know where I take most of my losses, but this hill is not a very good place a lot of the time. But I'm able to get into a relatively good place here, I think. You just gotta, did I let him get too close? No, I didn't. And then we get just close enough to fire. Boom. Done. Because he's locked on to the 42 number 1, and 42 number 2 gets just close enough that he doesn't switch fire over to him. Because he's still like locked on to the other guy. It's weird how that works, but it works. Going for a flank shot and realize that they're skirmishers, and we decide not to play that game.
Yeah, you were just taking a shot in the water.
Yep.
So he has a tendency to retreat the whole mass north, which would be bad for your guy who's over there in the north, or actually off to the left and then to the far left corner. So
across that little where those houses are?
Yeah, across the water and then far left in the far left corner of the map behind your infantry.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how you keep him from doing that.
The reason why I have all my farmers there is because they won't route through 3 farmers with full condition without surrendering. Pretty much. Most of the time. It's basically impossible to route through that many farmers. If you can get everybody in position to where they are held here, those farmers can pretty much hold them back. I'm not sure if I hold them back in this one though, but I don't remember where the guy retreats to that I end up saving for the end.
Oh, you end up saving one guy so that you can grind condition?
Yeah. I mean, no, I don't know what you're talking about. I would never do such a dirty, underhanded trick.
Oh, I apologize. I thought that is something that you would absolutely do.
You mistake me for
Someone
myself.
who would, someone who would power game.
Oh man, that is definitely what I do. So Taylor
I'm
there
shocked.
gets bopped finally. Like that took forever for him to finally decide that he doesn't like the situation that he's in. I almost decided to cross there, and that would have been a very bad idea. Because I think those skirmishers are still standing there waiting for me. I'm not 100% certain on that, but I know they're somewhere in there. So I run my general in there because I wanted him to take the shot while my other guys got into position to shoot him from the side. It's a little cheesy, but look how much damage he took. He took like no damage.
Yeah.
So, and that guy routed, so victory. I actually wanted the cannons, I think, to shoot him. I think that's why I ran him in there, because the cannons. But then the other guy was there, so he took that hit. Yep, the skirmishers are still standing there, right there, waiting for me to try to cross that river.
Wow, good call. I'd have probably walked right into that.
Hey, look, and they turned to face the 55s and got shot from the flank. That was good. They'll probably get shot again before they rout, it looks like. Because they're just standing there, just chilling.
Yeah, I think. Oh, you did not take the other flag.
Nope,
So
I did not. Because if you do,
battle ends.
battle ends if you take both flags.
Take both flags.
Yep.
So that's what I was think. That's what I always think when I get to this part of the battle is like, oops, yeah, I can't take the flag.
Yeah, but see, that's the whole thing, that like the other flag is easier to not capture
Yeah.
than this flag is, because this flag is where you're pushing them all to, and it's really hard to like just not take the flag.
Yeah, if you decide that, oh, I can get into melee and capture all these guys, you're going to take the flag.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do about that. Got almost everybody into position now.
So unfortunately, what I would do is accidentally trip the first flag and then worry about it now when it's too late. That's probably what I would do.
Because at this point, you need to do what you need to do to not take a lot of casualties. Because if you aren't careful, you will take a lot of casualties. Stonewall is going to get a big shot off here. I didn't want him to, but... And Trimble is too, I guess. Yep. Trimble gets a big shot off. Yep. Stonewall might not. He got shot from the side by those HFs. Yep, he doesn't get a shot off. Campbell up there is hasn't gotten shot at all yet. Still a 2,700 man unit just chilling there on the edge of the lake. Like,
he's the mobile reserve.
Yeah, except that he's been standing there the entire time. He's not much of a mobile reserve. He's just
he's the unmobile reserve.
There you go.
So
55s need to start shifting. Yeah, there we go.
Everybody is now flashing white except for Campbell and the skirmisher.
Supplies and the skirmisher. But yeah, skirmisher's the only one that's going to fire at me. Scott's now undone. But I mean, he was just flashing, so shouldn't be that bad. I don't see a general anymore either. I decided to run my guys, and that was probably not the best idea. I can't remember if that leads to a problem or not. Probably foreshadowing.
Well, if everybody routes...
Scott gets a volley off? Really? I think I really wanted to shoot Campbell. Yeah, I need to shoot Campbell really bad. Because if I don't, he's going to get a volley. I think I might get him. Kind of looks like I might. He's taking like 50 losses now.
You got a shot on Campbell.
Not yet. There we go. Now I did. It was just like overlapping kills, I think, on him. And then I ran away. I was like, nope, he's going to shoot me. And I was like, not gonna happen. Everybody's just chain surrendering. Go ahead and move our farmers into position now. They're all, if I had left those farmers there, they probably would have routed to the north. So I think it's probably best that I went ahead and did it that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just because I think I'd rather them route this way into all these farmers rather than routing through the other side with my expensive guns. Start getting some permanent captures now, finally. Everybody's just starting to surrender in there. Even a skirmisher. Wow. I was surprised those guys didn't shatter. Oh, they're all going to come back, though, I think. No? Maybe not.
If you move fast enough, they should, because if you're touching them, they won't flip back.
Yeah, but Trimble just flipped back. Somebody just flipped back, I think. Didn't they? No. Maybe not. I don't know. I thought I saw somebody flip back. Oh, Campbell. There we go. Campbell gets away. Yay, Campbell.
Campbell was never captured.
But he gets away. That's what I mean. It is him that gets away.
And you want him to get away.
I want somebody to get away.
Yeah, he's the most likely person because he hasn't taken any hits. All these other guys have been beaten to death.
Yeah. The problem is that now these guys trying to get Scott without getting Campbell. And it's like, ugh. So I actually like do the whole trick where you break off skirmishers to get them to move away, to get him away from Campbell, to keep him from capturing him. Scott gets captured. Now we're looking really good, but we just got to be careful because even just one volley right now has a pretty good chance of capturing him. Just because. That's just the way the game works. Oh, there you go. There's the end.
Okay, 1830. That was quite a jump in time.
It was. I think it was like... And then another jump. Okay, so I did one once I got him into position, and then I did jump to the actual end there.
Do you even bother to take the other flag? No.
I mean, you only need to take one flag for a win.
Yeah.
So there's no reason to even take it. Of course, it's going to end in like 5 seconds, and I'm like, running in circles just to make sure that they run as much as they can. There you go.
There it is.
Captured.
Oh man, that's nice. That's very nice.
It's not like a crazy low number of kills like the last one. It's a good low number, but it's not like magnitudes better.
Well, this is just a costlier battle. It's a tougher battle.
Yeah, they've got men in good positions. They've got the position to the south doesn't have a whole lot of units in it, but it is a pretty good fortification and a man standing like right on it that makes it really hard to get like flank shots on that guy without getting within range of the fortification, which then just makes you take some losses. Like there's just nothing you can do about that. Taking a couple hundred losses there just racks up some losses, and facing 5,000 more men doesn't help.
Well, and really, anytime you can get a surround and you can capture everybody, it's a good day. I mean,
but see, I have no 2 stars, none, 0.
Huh.
But once you move all those generals in charge of all those units, instead of having lieutenant colonels in charge of them, boom, they all become like, you see how many 2-star generals I have now. I got 2 there that I didn't even bring to this battle at all, and another one that I did bring to the battle.
I think I would have put 1 2-star in like the worst infantry unit just to keep grinding XP for a 2-star.
My thought,
like I always focus on 1 2-star in every battle to get him to his 3rd star.
That's what I was doing with that one guy that's in there, that 1 2-star in the farmers. Right. That's my best 2-star.
Okay, that makes sense, because I looked at that and I thought he was a 1-star who got his 2-star, but that was a 2-star working on his 3-star.
I think so. I'm pretty sure that was him. Um, I I knew he couldn't hit his 3-star this battle, but I wanted to get him close. And the whole reason why I did what I did was for those lieutenant colonels. What I did is I actually bought low lieutenant colonels on purpose to get them to a high lieutenant colonel. None of them actually made colonel. I thought some of them did, but I couldn't remember. But what that did was it allowed me to get them to like 3/4 or almost leveled, which then will actually allow me to put 2,000 man units in them without having a division commander that's a brigadier general.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now I have to have a brigadier general. I had to have a half full brigadier general just to be able to put those guys in there and not lose efficiency. Whereas now that they're 3/4 full lieutenant colonels, I can just throw them on a unit with just a okay colonel, and they won't lose efficiency.
Yeah, well, you're trying to do something very specific. I would I would want to be taking maybe smaller units to Shiloh of maybe 1,200 and having a whole bunch of pretty low level officers get XP to push them up. So I'm always trying to do two things. I'm always trying to take like certain number of 2-stars, turn them into 3-stars, 1-stars, turn them into 2-stars until every division command has a 2-star. And then on the other end of the Union Army, all of the crappy officers that I can possibly put in, because you can get an infinite number of majors. Most people don't know that, but you can actually, like, if you can make 100 units, you can get 100 majors, no matter what's in the barracks. So you can bring all of those guys in and, build an officer corps on the cheap if you want to.
Yeah, the problem is that Shiloh, you're behind the gun in a lot of ways.
Yeah, you're building larger units.
But I mean, even if you're not, like, you're still like under the gun for most of that battle. Like, the CSA is coming for you.
Yeah.
And you don't want to have a bunch of like no stars that are just going to get overwhelmed if you can help it. And what I'm doing is trying to help it, basically. Those guys will give a little bit more experience to their units, so I can actually hit that 1-star point. Because even just a base colonel will start giving stars to CSA units. Yes. But on the USA side, you need a little bit more, or have more experience in your pool by breaking down good units. But if you can get close to that colonel range, it doesn't take much in your recruit pool to bump up to that 1-star, even on starting units. Like, just breaking down like one or two, probably breaking down like one of my units into that 5,200 men that I got in that last battle could actually bump all of those men to 1-stars with like base level colonels.
Yeah, and to your point, 1-star units perform a lot better than no-star units. No-star units in the Union Army are just terrible.
Yeah, and it just gets you that much closer to having 2-stars, and that's really what the goal of any campaign is on the vanilla playthrough, is to get 2-stars. 3-stars is good, but you really, really want a good group of 2-star units, because that 2-star perk is really, really good.
Yeah.
And either one that you pick, if you pick the one that you reload faster, do a little bit less damage, or you do more damage and reload slower, either one really, really helps your damage potential. Somewhere in the mid game, you can switch over to doing the faster reload, but by the end game, well, it might not be very good on the USA campaign, but there was a middle portion of the CSA campaign where I could switch over to the faster firing and still break units, because they hadn't hit where they're all 3 stars with like maxed out morale yet. But by the end of the campaign, you pretty much always want to be hitting as hard as possible on that first volley, because if you can get them under the gun and get them below 50% and they start doing their slower volleys, it's over.
Yeah, my experience is, because I've tried them both, is that the reloading slower but hitting harder ends up with more kills
Yeah.
for the unit, and that means more experience, more efficiency.
More efficiency, less firearms.
Right.
By a little, but it's not much. It really isn't much. I don't feel like it makes all. I tried it on the CSA campaign to try to get as much as possible, all those units, and then I ran through with the other, and it just didn't feel like it did enough. Like I ran through with full, like my entire core that I brought was all those units, and it just didn't. I like broke them all into the recruit pool to see how much difference it made, and it made like no difference.
Yeah, I would think, like what I looked for, I thought when I had them fire faster that enemy units would, be degraded faster because they were taking more hits and they'd rout faster. I didn't find any of that to be true. The effect on the enemy army was not what I'd hoped.
The fire and maneuver part is about the only thing you gain, is that you won't lose as much condition because you will have reloaded before you start moving. But that's only if you go through the some of the things that I do. I don't think you really do this much, where you actually intentionally put guys on hold fire and move them into cover, or move them up in so like you wait for them to reload, move them up, get them into position, then hold them in place, tell them to go ahead and fire then, and that can really help with the condition drain. Most people don't do that.
Yeah, I don't do that very often. I just want everybody to fire as fast and hard as possible, pretty much.
Right.
Everybody hits something.
And I do a little bit more tactical hold fire move.
Yeah.
I think that it's a little weird that in this game, whenever you tell a unit to move, it's an attack move automatically. Because whenever I'm making small movements, what I really want is for them to get to where I'm telling them to go before anything happens. Now, of course, whenever I'm moving them across the map, it's different. But so many times whenever I'm in a battle, I'm like, I want you to move to here. I don't want you to fire. I don't want you to move, finish reloading, and then stop and fire, and then move some more. Like, I want you to get to where I want you to go so I can hold you in position and then move on from you. Because if I don't hold you in position, you're going to walk all over each other. You're going to make a mess of things. You're going to turn around. You're just going to be stupid. So if I can get you to where I want you to go, hold you in position, and then move on to another part of the map, I know that you'll be fine. I know that you're not going to do anything that I don't want you to do. And that kind of micromanagement that I do kind of requires holding fire and moving, and you can do that sooner if you have a gun that reloads faster. So it's not just 10% faster, because you're switching from a perk that makes you 10% slower to a perk that makes you 10% faster. So it's like 20% difference.
Ah.
So it is slightly a thing that you can do, but I'm not sure that there's any benefit to it unless you're like extreme micromanaging, and then I'm not even sure if it's that noticeable.
The only thing I noticed was you get the most kills with the thing that hits harder.
Right.
That's
and condition doesn't affect you as much in the base game as it does in the UI mod. It just affects melee and how fast you move. I mean, pretty much that's it. Panda corrected me a couple videos ago that I said that it doesn't affect your damage. It doesn't affect your firing damage. It only affects your melee damage. I think that was Philippi that he put that comment in.
so if you're out of condition, it affects your melee damage.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, units in melee with no condition don't get many kills, and I don't think units will surrender to a unit in melee
It
that
feels
has no
like it.
condition.
It might not be true, but it feels like it's true. I feel like if my unit has like 100 condition and I just like touch a unit, it surrenders like almost every time. But if I have a unit that's been in melee for a while, it's starting to get low on morale, it's starting to get low on condition, there's just a higher and higher chance that nobody's going to surrender, because
Yeah.
the difference, the gradient between your troops and their troops starts getting closer and closer to nobody cares.
Yeah.
Like, everybody's just tired, nobody cares at this point. We're just sitting here and slinging words at each other.
Yeah, and you can see the like if a 100 condition unit is in melee, you see the numbers on the enemy unit just spin like a dial, man. It's just they're just falling rapidly. And two exhausted units on each other, there's no movement.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Even if, especially if one of them is routing, that one, if you're routing, you do like no damage. But even if you have plenty of morale, you still just, it just barely ticks down.
Yeah. So it's always a good idea to get exhausted units out of there and get fresh units in if at all possible.
And I think you really need to get your exhausted units like actually out, because I think that they actually hurt your chances of getting surrenders oftentimes. Like,
Yeah, and if anything, increasing the chance of a shatter.
yeah, that's what it feels like to me. A lot of this is just feeling though. Like, it just feels, and maybe it's because it makes the number move faster, and faster means it's more likely to surrender than it is to shatter instead. Or, you know, it can surrender on numbers that it can't shatter, and the faster it moves, the more likely it is to surrender. So if you can get it to move fast before it could ever shatter, then you're good.
Mm-hmm.
But it has to get down to a certain point before it even can shatter. I think that's something that he's thinking about changing in the new patch for the rebalance too, is that units can actually shatter at any number. It'll just be like a chance to shatter and a chance to surrender.
Wow.
At any time.
Yeah, that would be unusual, because usually a unit's going to shatter, it's going to be under 700 usually.
Well, it depends on how big your units are that you're bringing in, because if they're bringing in like 2k units, then it's under 700. But if it's like they're bringing in like 1.2 1.3k units, then it's like 2 3 400. It's like 25% or so 20 25.
That's true. Yeah.
So I mean, right now we're used to seeing bigger units because we've been bringing bigger units, but when a Panda brings in his little bitty units, like 1k 1.2k, in the UI mod before, like he was having units like running around on the battlefield with like 400 or 500 men, and I'm like, dude, I haven't seen a 400 man unit in like forever, unless it's a skirmisher or a cannon.
Yeah.
They all shatter before that for me. Well, it has been great. This is going to wrap it up, I think, for today. This is the last one I have done. I have to get Shiloh finished up here in the next couple days, and I look forward to doing that one with you in the next round of stuff.
Yeah, Shiloh is a great battle. I'm looking forward to that. And based on what you showed me, this is going to be a lot of fun. You've got to do, just as a side, maybe just show like, some snippets, like a 5-minute video or less of just, hey, I'm crushing the enemy. Oh, defeat, and everybody has been there. Every single player that's happened to. It's just your turn,
So that's a tidbit of information for what's coming up, guys.
And you're still recording?
I am.
Sorry.
No, it's all good. It's all good. That's a good little snippet. Like, I can probably add that onto the camp video and be like, you guys better watch the camp video.
So yeah. Anyway, that's everybody has had the same experience at Shiloh.
Yeah.
So
Well, you guys have a good one, and we'll see you in the next one. Well, this has been a blast. Hope you guys have had as much fun as I've had. I'll see you again in the next episode. You guys have a good one,